I could get a motion.
I'll move to accept the minutes from June the 21st.
Very good. Okay. Discussion.
I wasn't at the second meeting, so I
Okay.
understand from the vote
Okay.
at least on that.
No comments? Well, in that case, I've got a couple of typos on the minutes from March 21st on page 1 of the March 21st minutes, all the way down the very last line, last sentence. It says, "This includes Alex." I'm assuming that should be additional instruction. It says Alex addition instruction, or did I get that wrong? Is it actually Alex instruction in addition? I figured it was additional instruction. It was actually Lori and Sandy were discussing that, and I don't think either one of them are here.
Alex is used for the instruction of all math.
That's why I kind of figured it
operations.
was additional.
Yes, and so Alex is being used for additional.
That's kind of what I figured. Okay. And then on page 3 of those same minutes, down at the bottom in the last sentence, and this was my question, so, and I think what I was asking, it says, in a small cohort, I think you need to insert can, a few students blowing off the test significantly throwing off the scores. Any further discussion on the minutes? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, very good. Moving on. Principals reports. We'll start off with Ken.
Thank you very much, Kurt. I'd like to submit my report as written with some embellishments, if you'll indulge me. First of all, I'm happy to report that our one-act play, The Sissification of Romeo and Juliet, is advancing to the New England Drama Festival to be held on April 16th. That is great news. This is the third time it's happened, I believe, in the history of our program. The budget for that event, however, presents some concern. We anticipate a budget of about $6,000 to take 50-plus kids and their directors to Massachusetts for 3 days and 2 nights. The Drama Club has money in their account that will allow us to do that. However, I'm concerned that we may be draining their startup costs for future years. And I would just request to the board, when you get to the end of this budget year, if there is some surplus, if the board could make a contribution back in support of this trip, unexpected trip, but certainly a well-deserved trip, the Drama Club would appreciate that very
So
much.
that would most likely be on our agenda for our June meeting, Scott? Okay, so good.
But we are.
One of the two of you make sure that's on the agenda then?
Okay, but we are good to go, and I'm just concerned about the next year as a result of that. And again, Scott Pennington is here, one of the directors, if anybody has any questions, and I really believe that if you haven't seen it, it is a wonderful ensemble. Alyssa is the star. And I got that right. Alyssa is the star, so it's a very funny play, very well done, one of the best I've seen. I also want to recognize Katie Laurent, who's, I don't see her here yet, but her teacher Judy Clevin is here. And Katie was planning on being here. She has won a national award for her photography, and she'll be going with Judy to New York City at the end of May, beginning of June. And that again is also not an easy thing to accomplish. We've been 2 now, Judy, in 3 years? 2 in the last 3 years for photography. If Katie comes in, I'll recognize her, that's okay. And then the last thing I'd ask the board is, would you be so kind as to confirm June 11th as graduation for this year? I believe I do need your action on that.
Right, okay, now, Paul informed me just before the meeting started that we did get the approval back from the Department of Education for a waiver
A
of
waiver of 2 days.
2 days.
Unfortunately, we had another snow day on Friday. However, our waiver was based on the amount of instructional hours within the year. We happen to have 7.5 additional instructional hours left before you hit that ceiling of 990 instructional hours. So I would recommend that the board go ahead and approve the 11th date. I'll contact the commissioner for that additional day. I don't see a problem.
Are you still planning on doing the senior Saturday on April 16th?
We would not unless Mother Nature is extremely cruel to us. But we would not. If I could just chime in, I think that the spirit of this is also recognizing we've gone to a competency-based credit system. And time becomes less relevant. If students have mastered the competencies, then they've completed the course. And the amount of time in the seat is less important than the mastery of the competencies.
But by not going with the senior Saturday on the 16th, we are taking a chance if we get another snowstorm.
We'll always be taking a chance. There could be one on June 10th.
I think what the issue I think Tim is facing is
People need to make plans.
People are planning to be here during a very busy weekend, bike week. And also, we still have the venue of Meadowbrook for the 11th.
Okay, can I get a motion
I'll make a motion
to approve?
to approve graduation
on
for
June
June
11th.
11th.
Okay, second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, Ken. Anything else?
That concludes my report. I'll be happy to take questions.
Okay. Well, one thing that I would like to add is you acknowledged the efforts of the student council and other student groups in organizing the benefit dinner last Friday. I would also like to thank them for a very impressive event. When I was there, a number of folks mentioned to me, that's why I live in Guilford, because of the sense of a community. So I thought it was just a wonderful, wonderful thing. So I'd like to add to your acknowledgement of them. Any questions for Ken? Wow. Quiet evening. Okay, very good. We'll go in reverse order. Marcia.
Okay, I'd like to submit my report as written, and I'd like Ken's words with a few embellishments, if I may, and answer your questions. I would like to point out that the information on History Day has an update, and our Guilford Middle School students did extremely well, placing first in the junior individual website, first in the junior group performance, second in the junior group documentary, and also first place in that junior group documentary. And then one of the groups also received the National Archives Research Award for primary source use. And while I'm at it, I will say that our high school teams had a second place in the senior individual website and a third place in the senior group exhibit. And then the icing, perhaps, is that our social studies teacher, Rob Myers, was named the National History Day New Hampshire Teacher of the Year. So that's a pretty wonderful accomplishment, and our students at both high school and middle school will have the opportunity to look to the trip in Washington with their families and decide what they're going to do next with that. So we thank Rob and all those families, because it was a huge commitment on the part of the families also to the project. lugging the exhibits back and forth and up and down and around and to Plymouth and elsewhere, so it's great work. We also, and do you mind if I get up just for a minute and come through there? We also had our second round of Silver Hawk Award winners, and our Silver Hawk Award winners are getting a keychain, so we thought we'd give the keychain to board members, and it's kind of nice here because you're the second one in your family.
Yes, I
to
am.
get the
Thank you.
As Delaney Andrews was awarded one most recently. There you go. Thank you. So we're really proud that our kids are being recognized for their accomplishment. The text that was written about some of the students really is wording that any parent would love to hear about their child. So we're really working on building a culture and recognizing our kids for stepping up and honoring their culture. So I'd be happy to take any other questions after that, and thanks for that opportunity to pass out the keychains.
Questions for Marcia?
We've already talked about the Quebec trip. That's already come.
We already
Yes.
approved it, yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
That's in good shape. They're moving forward,
They're
obviously.
moving forward, soon to be taking off. That's the,
It's during vacation.
no, that's actually prior to vacation, and I've lost track. It's, I think, at the end of next week. Yeah. To Montreal this year.
Yeah, 14, 15, 16.
Anything else for Marcia? Well, I have a comment and a question.
Okay.
In the fourth paragraph, you mentioned NHTCC. We are Lakes Region Community College.
Thank you,
Just
sir.
wanted
I
to
will
make sure
stand corrected on
we are no
that.
longer the tech. We haven't been the tech for a long time.
Actually,
and now
I
we
say-
are Lakes Region Community
I
College.
say that with great affection, but that also shows how long I've been around.
No, that's true. But, and then, I was wondering if you could explain the FACT, the Focused Academic Community Time, in a little bit more detail.
Yes, I'd be happy to. As we have continued to work on the concept of professional learning community approach, as Jack has described the process at the elementary school, the process has unfolded a little bit differently in the middle school, but we are asking ourselves consistently over the last year the really critical question of what do we do when our kids do not know or don't learn what it is that they absolutely have to learn. Those are for all students. And fortunately, in a professional development opportunity earlier this year, one of our groups was able to meet an administrator and a PLC proponent from, I believe it's California. And he described how they had answered that question in their school by creating these tutorial blocks during the regular week and offering structured and focused tutorial sessions for students. So our people were excited about that. They brought the concept back. They shared it with the faculty. And pardon me, I don't remember exactly what the date was, but our faculty and support staff had a unanimous vote, which is pretty amazing, to go forward and put this practice into place. Twice a week, Tuesday and Friday afternoons currently, there is a 30-minute focused block where students, in fact, 60% of our students was our data today. 60% of our students in the early practice have been assigned to closed sessions targeting specific skills that they need to learn. If you already know those skills, then you get to go to enrichment. David Bartlett in 8th grade math has been offering opportunities for advanced math learning for students that have already met what they need to know and be able to do. I, for example, offered a filler on community service learning, thinking that no one would want to come to that open session, and I've had a hearty little group of students that are just fascinated by what they can do for somebody else, and they're looking at things like Lakes Region General Hospital, the State Food Bank, community gardens. I mean, it's really pretty neat. So there's a enrichment aspect, but really most importantly, it's about that idea of how do we give small group, powerful, targeted tutorial sessions to kids on a regular basis when we own them in the school day, as opposed to trying to get kids to come outside the school day or in some other format. So that's a large walnut-sized summary of that, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you have.
Are the same kids going to be in the same groups, or is it going to vary from week to week, month to month?
There's no life sentence, you know. The good news for kids is, in fact, today at our team leaders meeting, one of our team leaders was sharing the question from a student of, well, how do I get out of here? And the answer was, you have got to know this material. And when you demonstrate, as Ken said, the competency, we don't have the same competency system, but we have those same requirements. When you demonstrate that you know that, then you will be able to select from open sessions. We've actually had feedback from 8th graders, which is really very difficult to get, that they have been able to get that one-on-one, 1 to 5, or whatever it is instruction, and it's made a difference for them. So it's an opportunity to do that. And then once you master it, you can move on. So one day is literacy, and one day is mathematics. So then they're not in conflict with each other, and then there are open sessions where somebody might be offering something that anybody can go to until it's full, or there are closed sessions. We're looking in the future, there are some great things that we could be doing in the sciences for enrichment, and it would be an opportunity for us to offer those to small groups of kids and kind of gauge their interests.
How often are the kids assessed on their development in these areas?
Well, that's an ongoing assessment using, obviously, formative assessment by the teachers in the classroom. That would be regular and ongoing. Summative assessments would be regular and ongoing with the classroom teacher. So if I'm running a closed session and I've been teaching a group of 5 students these things, and I'm going to be assessing them for that within the context of the classroom, we'll use our NEWA data. You know, we're excited to look at our NEWA data in the spring and look at these specific students that we put into closed sessions and see what progress they have made or not made, because, you know, one size doesn't fit all, and it's kind of who will this really help and who will we have to have other strategies for.
Very good.
Thank you.
Anything else for Marcia? Okay, last but not least, Jack.
Good evening. I offer my report as written, and unlike my colleagues, I offer absolutely no embellishment whatsoever.
Questions
I
for
just have a
Jack?
quick question. On your staffing
Yes.
from kindergarten to first grade, I know that we usually have more kids coming in to the first grade than we do from kindergarten, because there are people whose kids are, they send them to the full day in Laconia or something like that. So I'm assuming you've accounted for that in the staffing piece?
We've actually done some work to find out whether those bodies exist, and we actually think they were down as low as 2 or 3, and that
Okay.
would not skew those
Perfect.
sections.
Perfect. Good.
That's the best guess.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Anything else for Jack? Couple of quick questions. You threw a couple of teasers in there about report card redesign and subtle reassignment and reoccupation of classroom spaces. Would it be safe to assume that we'll hear more about this in the next month's meeting or the meeting after that?
The subtle reassignment reoccupation is exactly what it is. I don't know if you remember, but last summer, Tim and I had sat down and spent a lot of hours, because any building I've ever been a principal of, it's been very frustrating to me to watch 7 or 8 people move through a building every summer. So what we really did was we laid a footprint out that really went from kindergarten to first to second to third and fourth. So because of this bubble, we only have to move like 2 classrooms during the summer. So unless you batted your eyelashes at the wrong time, you wouldn't actually know that we had done it. And that's why I used the word subtle. So I really think it's that way. The report card is that we're simply not satisfied with the direction that we've gone since I've been here for the 2 years that we've been here, with the reading initiative, the flexible groups, how we grade kids in flexible groups and so forth. We're just not satisfied that the report card truly facilitates our ability to communicate to parents everything that we're doing. So yes, definitely on that one, you would hear about it. We're going to start a study in the fall, and if we believe we're going to actually shift in that format, then we will definitely come back and make a presentation to the board as to why we're doing that.
So this is not a change that you anticipate for the beginning of the next school year then?
We might at some point, theoretically, in the back of our head, we're thinking that maybe we might ask you to pilot something in the third trimester next year, but absolutely not for the fall. No, we're not even going to start the work until after Labor Day.
Very good, thank you. Anything else for Jack?
Just to get back, Jack, to the enrollment for next year.
Sure.
I think we're looking at, so grade 1 is going to have 55, or plus, maybe plus a couple. Is that correct?
Correct.
So what is our current ratio, maximum?
The ceiling is 18.
18?
If we go to 56, we're still okay.
So I guess I'll make the same point I made on,
I'm sorry, 58, and we're okay.
I'll
I'll
make
do the
this-
math right. 3 times 16, 58, sorry. That's why I'm in elementary.
I guess I'll make the same point, and I'm not sure if you know, the flexibility of moving around the elementary school is, how difficult that is, but I do get concerned when we drop too low on the number of classes, from the standpoint that there's a lot of work that the teachers go through to prepare the curriculum, and I get worried when we drop down to this level, understanding the staff, understanding that the head count is lower in this year. But when we start moving people around from grade to grade, if they have to move year to year, they're having to develop, from my understanding, a whole new curriculum, teach it, and then potentially move on the next year. So from a sensitivity standpoint, the amount of work that they're already doing, I just want to bring that up, because when we get to 3, it starts worrying me. But that may be the reality going forward.
But I also want to remind the school board that you did not ask me to touch instructional positions within the elementary school this year, including that salaried teaching assistant that we expanded to this year. So we actually have 3 or 4 aces in the hole, depending on how these numbers settle. I would suggest to you that I would probably anticipate that in August, hopefully, that first or second week that we meet as a school board in August, that I'll have a real specific number of what I'm dealing with and what we'll be looking for. But, because we're not sure what we have for numbers for kindergarten coming in either, and we're actually projecting big on that side. So.
Anything else for Jack? Okay. Ken, you have an alibi?
Yeah, I actually have 2 things. Backing up to the play, technically I think we should approve the trip to Andover, Mass, because it will be out-of-state travel. It will be 2 nights and 3 days, staying overnight in Andover. The trip will encompass a Monday. Normally, the festival, the kids come in on Friday and compete on Saturday, but our kids are going to go down on Saturday and compete on Sunday and Monday, because Monday is a holiday in Massachusetts, so the rest of the schools will be there for Monday. So our students will miss, and our teachers will miss school on Monday, is my understanding. Is that correct, Scott? I snuck out. But that's my understanding.
2 days
So,
of school?
1 day of school.
One
They'll
day.
leave here Saturday morning.
Oh, they're not leaving Friday, okay.
Right, they're not leaving Friday. Normally, they would miss a Friday, but because of Patriots Day, they're gonna miss a Monday.
It's over at 2:30 on that Monday.
So to make this official, I would like the board to approve that trip, overnight trip.
Okay,
Out
can I
of
get a
state.
motion? Second? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed?
And if I might, I would like to recognize Katie Laurent, our National Silver Key winner for photography.
Yeah.
Could you bring it forward and show it to me?
Want the big one?
Probably more impressive. Yeah, we'd like to see it anyway.
Here's actual size, and then we blew it up a little bit.
I'll show it to you. Why did you show it to me?
Thanks. Thanks, Article.
It can go either way. It doesn't matter.
That's why I never won a silver key.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you. This time I really mean I'm done.
Okay. Alyssa?
Hi, I'm not really sure what the update from Megan was last week, so I might be repeating some things, or last month I mean. But first of all, Student Council right now is working on a service day from the suggestion we got from the school board a few months ago. And we're going to be going to public, I don't want to say the wrong word, not businesses,
Public agencies.
public agencies or places, and just doing some basic spring cleanup for them or whatever we can find. So we'll be sending out that letter probably just before April vacation or just after. We just finished with the Sawyer Dinner Soiree, and then also we're working on our last Eagle Day, which is in Mr. Wiswell's report, which will be focused on student recognition.
Very good, thank you. Any questions for Alyssa? Okay, we'd like to skip the next item on the agenda, Champions for Children, since the awardee has not showed up yet. And so we'll move right to Esther to talk about portfolio. Right, actually, I know. Okay. Let me just back up on that change to the agenda. And so now we will move on to the next thing on the agenda, which is the 2011 Champions for Children Award. And Paul, I'll let you take care of that.
Thank you very much, Kurt. Annually, the School Administrators Association asks districts throughout the entire state to submit their candidate for Champions for Children. And in effect, the association wishes to recognize a person who has done way beyond the average individual in terms of their commitment to schools and, most importantly, their commitment to children. In effect, an unsung hero. Let me just mention to you that last year we had our first Champions for Children. It starts at the local district level, then it goes to the regional level. In our case, it's Lakes Region, and then the recipient of the regional level then goes to the state level, where a state champion for children is selected in May. Last year we were honored to have Sue as our local Champions for Children, as well as our regional Champions for Children. This year we have a very special person who, like Sue, has given unselfishly of her time. I just want to read a couple of excerpts from the applications that were sent to her. I won't mention her name right yet. She has worked within the Guilford schools primarily as a school volunteer. She has been available to the school district in almost every imaginable capacity, be it volunteer, committee work, boosters, classroom assistance, field trip chaperone, or simply as an advocate for school budgets in support of Guilford's teachers, students, and the educational program in general. She has addressed the school board, the budget committee, and the community as a strong voice of support for funding of the schools. This person is very modest by nature, prefers to stay out of the limelight, away from microphones and the audiences, but out of conviction, she finds herself in the milieu of various school forums as an advocate for what is good and right for students. Ken Wiswell states that long before her own daughters attended Guilford High School, this champion for children had devoted numerous hours to organizing and supervising Guilford's athletic booster club events. She is now president of the Boosters Club and spends much time here. It seems like she is a member of our faculty. And he goes on to say, for as long as I have worked with her, this champion's agenda has always been laser focused on what is best for students. A parent writes, 8 years ago, I gave birth to a child whose brain didn't develop. It was much like an infant for his whole life. He passed away this past May. I'm not sure if anyone loved him more besides his own family than our Champions for Children. I adored the way she saw past his disability and treated him with such kindness and love. My son Benjamin required such tremendous care, so much so that it prevented me from always being at the other children's activities due to his frequent hospital visits. She, our Champions for Children, has been like a second mother to my children, especially to my oldest child. I can't say enough, this parent goes on to say, I can't say enough about how amazing, caring, passionate, considerate, and loving she is. I have never known another person that advocates the way she does for all children. I am truly blessed. And one more from our assistant principal at the middle school. She will often say, I'm not worried about my own kiddos because I take care of them, but the other ones out there, I cannot. When it comes to making sure families have food, clothing, transportation, access to academic supplies, etc., she is always there. She speaks her mind, she's direct and to the point, and she's always on point when it comes to the needs of children. One last comment. A common expression is, she is everywhere when referring to children of the school community. It is not uncommon to hear a family in need and have Lisa's name be attached in some way or another. Lisa Buckley, would you stand up, please?
Luckily, he's retiring.
You're going to think I'm an idiot. I thought the meeting started at 6:30.
Now, Lisa, I'm sorry. I know she won't forgive me, but Lisa is not only,
Oh, you kids.
Lisa is not only our Champions for Children in
Can you wait
Guilford.
till her daughters come in and her...
Oh,
Get on work.
I just all knew about it.
Hi, guys.
Come on in.
Gonna embarrass the whole family.
Lisa is not only our Champions for Children for Guilford, but all of the schools in the Lakes region submitted their nominee to be the Champions for Children in the Lakes region. I'm delighted to know that Lisa was selected as our Champions for Children in the Lakes region, and she will be, along with her family, invited to a breakfast on May 6th to be a Champions for Children statewide. Lisa, I don't know what else to say, and I know you don't like being here, the center of attention. And Lisa, I might add, you've been my most significant critic, and in a very positive way, I might add, because you always hold us accountable for what we do and what we say, and for that we're very, very appreciative. I know I brought Lisa here under false pretenses. And one more thing, Lisa, we have this plaque that we hang in the SAU office in a very prevalent place right in the front. And your name is on there right under Sue Ellen's name. Lisa Buckley, our Champions for Children for 2011. Lisa, you're just wonderful. Thank you so very much. Thank you for everything you've done for our kids.
Actually, can you
Can
come
we
up
get-
and get it so we can get a picture?
Come on over here, Lisa, and
The whole
just...
family, have a whole family.
And can you blank this out? Oh, no, never mind. No, it's fine.
You can go around the backside then.
Make sure Dad gets it.
Can you blank the screen out?
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, just turn it off for a second. There.
Can we do one more time?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lisa, for everything you've done. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sorry I was late.
That's okay. We wouldn't have done it without you. This goes to the SAU office.
Thank you.
Okay. Esther. Now we're back on schedule.
Let's hope the thing will start back up.
Well, yeah, now,
Well, I can start talking and we'll figure that out. I was given a mission by the community, the school board, and representatives from teachers, students, to sit on the strategic planning committee. And I was under planning for students. And one of the things that we have yet to complete, and we're finally completing, is our portfolio. I was given a mission by the school board to find a portfolio. And when I went looking, it was really hard to find one that could be web-based so everyone could participate. Students could use it for their art and their drama and their academics and their sports and all their community activities. And we really didn't have the server capacity. So I got thinking, and I went to a company that we were already using called MSB. And the administrators gave me some ideas. And in this last year, MSB has willingly worked with not only our district, but other districts who were also in the interest of having a portfolio. The nice thing about it is they've also been able to link our IEP system to our portfolio system. And because we're an inclusive school, it came through a grant. So we got this whole system free of charge. And we are just starting the pilot, and it should be able to be put in place in September. So I'm going to let Steve from MSB speak, and Rebecca's going to show us the slides.
Esther, some of the people in the audience might not know what an IEP is.
Oh. An IEP is an education plan we write for our special needs students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Esther and board, for allowing me to be here this evening. I'm Steve Corder with MSB, and we've actually been working with SAU 73 here for a number of years with another product we supply called Casey, which is a special education management product. And I'm proud to present to you this evening a product that we've been working together, as Esther mentioned, that we've been calling our ePortfolio product. It's been an interesting development for us. It's certainly not everything that we expect that it will be in the future, but we are proud to say that we have a web-based system that will be accessible now to administrators at the schools, as well as teachers, parents, and students. And so it will allow all those members to be participating in the process of putting together your learning compact, as well as allowing students to be able to demonstrate their best work through the portfolio. A few comments about the system. We don't really want to bore you this evening with a lot of slides per se, but just wanted to mention a few things about it. Number one, as with all of our systems, that would include Casey and now with our ePortfolio system, we treat all of this data, security being the highest priority. So only those folks that are approved by administrators at the school level have access to the system. For the first time in this system, administrators can invite parents and students that they would like to participate in the process. And again, that will need to be approved by administrators only. So all the security at all levels will be in place so that no one who shouldn't have access will have access to the system. As far as students being able to demonstrate their best work, which is the whole objective of portfolios, we have developed an attachment feature at this time, and we will continue to explore other opportunities to allow students to demonstrate their best work with any type of media that they've been performing that work in. We have started recently, in the last couple of weeks, a pilot process. So as with any rollout of software, it's always important to let the folks that will be using it on a daily basis begin to see if it does what they want it to do. So we have folks here at the SAU who will be kind of our point people who will receive feedback from the folks who've been chosen as being pilot participants. And they will meet with us on a regular basis to provide us with that feedback so that we can continue to adapt and develop and make sure that we have a fully functional system in time for the, what are we up to now, the 11-12 school year already? Yeah. Unbelievable. So we look forward to rolling this out. We have another district actually here in the state of New Hampshire, actually another SAU 50, which includes the Rye area, that will also be piloting over the course of the spring and into the summer, and they look forward to a full implementation for the fall into the next school year as well. So we look forward to continuing to build on what we've done to date. Becky is just bringing up some of the informational screens where a lot of the student data will be maintained by the administrators. And the good thing here is anyone who's been using any of our products to date will be very familiar with the design of the system. It's very, very similar to the other products that we utilize here in the state of New Hampshire. So that's our system. It's called the ePortfolio system. You folks have an opportunity to work together with us to continue to see that it does exactly what you would have it to do. As of this moment, the primary features of the program allow administrators, teachers, parents, and students to participate together in the learning compact forms, so that each individual with the particular questions and input that they would provide will access that part of the form and provide their feedback and their goals and their objectives and all those kinds of things. So we look forward to working together with the pilot group. I guess that's about, what, 15 folks, I believe. And we're looking forward to meeting with them regularly over the course of the spring and into the summer, getting their feedback and continuing to develop the system. So thank you very much for allowing us to participate together with you folks.
I just want to say for all those parents out there that part of the program is there's a questionnaire that students will fill out, and it'll be age appropriate to where the students are. There's some information that we're trying to gather from the parents to kind of figure out what the parents' objectives are, what they're looking for in their education for their student, and also somewhat community events that are taking place in your students' lives that might be happening outside the school. That's very important. We have an example. We have students receiving their Eagle Scouts and their gold, and young ladies receiving their Golden Apples, which is a Girl Scout and Boy Scout. And sometimes we just find out at the last minute. This will be an opportunity for you to give us that kind of information. And then, as always, our students will be able to give us information, their favorite, if they're in kindergarten, it's their favorite colors, and if they're high school, it's what their expectations are when they journey into the world. So it's really exciting, and anytime someone wants to come and check it out and play on it and check out the system, feel free to give me a call.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Any questions?
Questions?
I have a question. I'm trying to think back of when we started on this, because it was a while back.
Mm-hmm.
What was the primary driver? Was it, we were talking about at one time, follow the child, I think?
Yes. That's what
Was that really where it came from?
That was the primary driver, and then the state also requested that we do portfolios. Actually, they put it into play, and that's still there. And I think it's a great way to gather information on our students. Also, we have a lot of students who are needing portfolios for their college entrance, and this is a great way for them to create it. One of the reasons we had to go to I had to go to an organization, I couldn't get a portfolio program that could hold the memory and the ability to host art exhibits, to host, experts from the drama. So that was one of the reasons we went to a company that contains those kinds of servers.
So the database is going to be hosted by your company?
Yeah.
Correct. That's right.
And they're all fully, they meet all the requirements. They do Medicaid billing, so they meet all those HIPAA requirements. They do all our IEPs, which have all the FERPA and IDA requirements. So they are able to host those really high, intensive kind of situations. And I felt that was important for us as a district. I didn't want people, but I also wanted people to be able to access it. If a student is sitting at a university, I wanted them to be, and they're sitting there and they say, oh, where's your portfolio? I want them to be able to access it out there. And I also want a 7th and 8th grader who's working on a project to be able to access it.
Derek, real quickly, when we started the strategic plan 5 years ago, under the goal of student learning, we wanted to personalize education for kids, getting to know more who they were, what their interests were, what their aspirations were, and 2, we wanted to follow them, we wanted to track their progress in all areas. And then that combined with the state asking districts to develop electronic portfolios was a mess. And it took longer than we had anticipated, to be perfectly honest. But I think we're on track. We've got a pilot going on, implementation now, and then full implementation.
And the nice thing will be is that the teacher not only can call out a portfolio, but for the first time, a regular teacher will be able to look at the individual education plan for our special needs students, the 504 plan, the English as a second language, that's not quite done yet, but it will be, and the RTI plan. So a teacher will be able to look at all that stuff for the first time and not have to go through files and files of paper. So I'm really excited about that personally.
Now, one of the other things we talked about when we were talking about Follow the Child is having an electronic portfolio where the things that teachers learn working with kids about, you know, family issues,
Right.
learning issues, whatever, could be transferred for the next teacher. Is that what social indicators,
Yeah.
academic indicators?
Mhm.
Okay.
They'll all
So,
be there.
so then I would assume then, since we've got all of this, that there's going to be different levels of access, that only teachers and administrators can access things like that, whereas the students and parents can access like the portfolio and stuff like that. Is
Exactly.
that correct?
Exactly.
So this sounds to me exactly like what we talked about when we
Exactly.
first started talking about Follow the Child.
And I want to thank MSB for taking the risk, because when a special ed or student service director comes and says, we got to do this because I can't find it and this is what the board and the community wants, they're willing to pull together other schools so it didn't cost us a huge amount of money, and also help us connect to the special ed entity, which, because we're an inclusive school, allowed it to basically be nothing for us, just my time.
Because actually this was all paid for with a grant.
Right.
Wonderful.
All we had to do is I had to go and sit in long meetings and say, no, I like that or don't like that.
Okay. Barry?
So the follow-on question is, it was funded by a grant, but when that well runs dry, then what?
We're all right. You're set.
We're set.
You're set.
There's additional grant funding, is what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Well, actually, we made a deal because of my time and energy and stuff. This goes on for a long period of time.
Oh, I was going to say, there's no free lunch. So we donated you.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. This looks very, very good.
Awesome.
Okay. And if you'd like to
Excellent.
take a closer look, as I said, feel free to stop in.
When you get to the point where you have your 15 people into this thing, can you make a dummy one that mirrors it so we can actually walk through it? I don't mean
Yeah.
a less intelligent person, I mean, I'm talking about a John Doe or something, you know, that we can just follow through and put in some space.
Well, actually, if you
portfolios,
want to be
stuff
part
like
of the pilot, we're looking. I'll take you as part of the pilot.
We'll have a dummy named Derek.
We already have one. Don't worry. We don't need another.
No, if people want to be part of the pilot, it's open. You know, we took volunteers, so if you would like to be part of the pilot, I would love to have the school board member. So think about it and let me know.
Okay.
That'd be great.
If you are going to participate in the pilot, we will need to know where you are on summer vacation, so we can reach you.
Vacation? What's a vacation?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any further questions for Esther? or- Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.